To some of you who are about to invest into poultry farming in Uganda, I want you to first of all do your due diligence before you do anything. Don't rush into anything, especially those ones who want to invest into poultry farming through partnerships. Do your due diligence before you do anything. Don't rush into anything before you understand, first of all, the numbers and the people you're dealing with. Let me share with you a story that I wasn't at all going to share, but I feel like it may help someone out there. So some time back, I met this amazing duo, mother and son. These are people who have been saving up in their country. They retired early from, the medical field, and then they are looking out for something to invest in for their retirement. So during their, the process of researching on what to invest in, they are doing their research online. This is when they landed onto a YouTube video. In this YouTube video, allegedly, a YouTuber had done an interview on a gentleman. This gentleman, this gentleman, as they said, is from South Sudan, and he's doing poultry farming here in Uganda. He's doing poultry farming business in Uganda. So, they saw it as a better opportunity, as something they need to explore, as a great investment idea. So what they did, they got in touch with this gentleman. But before they did that, they had done, some prior research. So what even caught their attention was the fact that this video was done in Arabic. And them being Arabic speakers, they, quickly connected with this person. And one fun thing, when they called me, they asked me, "Do you have an office, Fridaus? You're a YouTuber. Do you have an office?" I was like, "An office?" They're like, "Yes. Someone we talked to, we met them in their office." I was like, this is the first time a YouTuber is having an office. So I was like, I should think of having an office. So back to the story. So they organized themselves. They booked a tourist visa. They flew in Uganda, to explore this potential, investment. So they arrive in Uganda on tourist visas. They meet this gentleman who explains to them the possible investment models. So the first one was these investors, in this case, a mother and the son, they bring the money for the feeds, the money for the chicks, and the money for veterinary services. And they give to this gentleman. So this gentleman, what he has on the table is the management, the infrastructure, and the equipment. Okay? So after them bringing that money, the birds are bought, the feeds are bought, and then they start raising the chicks. Once the chicks are raised from day one, because in this case we are talking about broilers, by the way, the chicks are raised from day one up to the 4th week. The target weight being 1.5 to 1.8. That's the weight they agreed upon. So once the birds are raised and then sold, they will share the profits. Are you paying attention? So they will share the profits. Let's imagine each broiler chicken takes costs around 9,000 to be raised. I'm just assuming 9,000 to be raised, and then it is sold, let's say, at 12,000 or even 11,000, depending on the market. So if it's sold, let's say, at 12,000, it means the profit is the 3,000, right? So they are split this money 50-50%. So it means the investor, they will take 1,500. Even the gentleman will also take 1,500, right? That's the first model. Now, the second model is a bit different. In the second business model, the investors, in this case the son and the mother, they will rent a structure. By the way, this is a common practice. It's a common trend, or it's a common practice in poultry industry, to rent a structure where you can raise your birds from. Most people actually discourage it, but it's an arrangement is there, because there are those people who, constructed their farms, put up structures, and all of a sudden maybe they abandon the project, they just close the farm, and the structures are there not being used for some reasons. So you can go and rent such a structure and you start operating. So I think this gentleman was also leaning into that idea. So he tells them, you rent the structure and the equipment, and then you use your own money to buy the feeds, to buy the chicks, you pay for veterinary services, you pay for the workers, and cool, right? But what makes this second model different is that, according to this duo, the son and the mother, they say that in this second model, they realize that the profit is actually 10% is what they are left with after all expenses. 10%. And to make things worse, even this 10% is supposed to be shared with this gentleman. So they were a bit confusing. They were a bit confused. Okay, not sure about, the whole thing. They say, we'll come back the next day. Let's go and think about it. So they go. They come back the next day to meet this gentleman. While waiting for him, he's busy. While waiting for him, they actually have a conversation with one of the investors. And she tells them that she has actually done one cycle with a gentleman. But sadly, she didn't make any profit on that cycle. But, the gentleman tells her that don't worry, first cycles are always like that, because you're just navigating through everything. It's most likely that you will not get any profit. So, okay, now these people, they wait, for him to come. So when they try to connect this lady's conversation and then the conversation they had with this gentleman the day before, something starts to click in their mind and they feel like something is not right. So what they do, they start asking this gentleman serious questions, tough questions. And to make it worse, the number, when they arrive the next day, they realized that actually the numbers kept changing. The costs were rising, but the profits were not rising. And when they asked him to explain, he says, earlier I had forgotten this kind of expense. You should also include it. And at the end of the day, things were not making sense. So when they started asking this gentleman tough questions, he got defensive and he started getting irritated. When he was irritated, I think this is when it occurred to these people that they were most likely dealing with a scammer, So they choose to walk away. And that's when they actually contact me to seek some clarity, from me on how poultry farming business is actually being done in Uganda. So when I heard this story, when I heard their story, I was like, I paid more attention to just wrap my mind around it so that I can share with I can share it with you so that you, as you're thinking of making your next investment through partnerships with people in Uganda, you have a clear mind and a clear understanding of the numbers and the people you're dealing with. Let me bring this to your attention. Such scams are happening in the farming industry here in Uganda. The common scams are mostly in goats and cattle and other practices. But even before, in poultry farming, such scams had happened before, have ever happened before. And let no one lie to you that they are not happening. They are still happening, but more silently, you know? So it's actually up to you to be so keen and smart, like the way this duo was able to realize. How were they even able to realize that maybe they were dealing with scammers? First of all, the inconsistencies in numbers, and what caused actually the inconsistencies. Mostly, the first time they met, they were discussing all these calculations, all these numbers in US dollars. The next day they arrived, oh my God, they were discussing in Ugandan shillings. And the fact that the expenses kept increasing and the profits were not, it raised eyebrows. And so these people chose to walk out because they were very careful about their money. They had worked for it and they were seeking for investment for their retirement. So I think they were very, 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 very very keen with their finances. So that's how they were saved from that kind of scam. So to you out there who is planning to invest, who is planning to do poultry farming in Uganda, I want you to first of all, do your background checks. Do your due diligence. Don't just rush into investing into doing in partnerships with anyone, even if it's free house. It's okay. You can first of all understand how everything works. This information is out there. You can ask, you can go online. At least you have a bit of understanding of how the numbers actually work. The good thing with poultry farming, it's about numbers, and numbers don't lie. Just make sure whatever you're doing, the numbers make sense. You know that if I'm raising 10,000 birds, I'm supposed to invest in this kind of money, and I'm supposed to break even at this point. As simple as that. That will save you a lot of headache, a lot of losses from scammers. And scammers are also business people. That's how they are making their money. So it's up to you to be very, very, very careful with who you deal with and which business you're getting yourself into. Anyways, that is the story that I wanted to share with you tonight. Just following up the conversation I had with you the other day about why I stopped helping and all that. So from those calls, those connections I've been having, I'm getting very interesting stories that you will not even believe. I'm getting very interesting stories that you never even imagine they're happening in Uganda or in the farming industry, but they are happening and they are there. So you should be on the lookout. All right, I want to welcome Nelson to today's live. You're most welcome. Last time you missed. I'm glad to have you here. Hi. Maria Local Poultry Farm. Hi. Welcome, girl, to my live. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. What do you say about that, that experience? Have you ever heard of that story happening in our industry? Maria is an amazing poultry farmer, local poultry farmer. I visited her farm and she's doing amazingly. So Maria, you are the people who are in the business. Have you heard of such a story? Then I have Genesis. Genesis Kawi. Welcome to the live. You're saying, Fridaus Kale, I watch your content. Oli Solid. Yo, not just a YouTuber, but a real news reporter in the ranks of Solomon Kawe. Oh, you flatter me. Oli mukumpa gagwe. I'm surprised you don't even know your full potential. I salute you, sister. Oh, thank you so much. That's a huge compliment. Okay, I'll go to sleep well today. I'm glad to hear that. Then, Assalamu alaikum, HA. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, dear? Where are you watching me from? Guys, we are many on the live, but I'm not seeing the likes. Give me the hearts and double tap on the screen to like the live. And I'm just waiting for your reactions and comments about the story I've just shared. What have you heard, and what's happening in relation to that? Are there scams? Have you heard of any scams in the poultry industry? We don't want anyone to tarnish our industry because we know the potential. And if people are out there and they want to start, tarnishing the industry, then we are going to lose out. So we should call out this kind of behaviors. Unfortunately, this the I'm trying to trace. And make sure and investigate, see if I can get to these people, to that South Sudanese guy who is doing that business, because sometimes it's good to hear both sides of the story, right? So I'm trying to do my investigations, see if that person can allow, to have an interview with me. And if he does, if he agrees, then you will hear his side of the story. But I'm trying to find out. But what really made me laugh was the fact that this YouTuber who did an interview on this person, I'm not sure, it's all allegedly, has an office. Guys, do you want me to have an office, a physical office? Okay. Oh, sorry. You just in time. I just finished sharing a story about the scams that are happening in poultry farming. I just shared one example. So I'm just asking everyone here of what they have heard, whether they have heard about those schemes or not. So Rachel, I'm glad you're here. You're welcome to today's live. You're not late. Better late than never, right? That's what everyone say. Richard, you're watching from Zambia. Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming to my live. I'm so glad that you. So what's happening? What's the poultry situation in Zambia? Do you also have scammers in the poultry industry? I mean, scamming in the industry happens in so many ways. It comes in so many different ways. What I just shared is just a tip of an iceberg in the industry. Go chick. Okay, I just joined now. All right, I just finished sharing. Where are you watching me from? Guys, make sure you like the video, double tap on the screen, and I'm here to listen to your questions. Because I just finished sharing the story. I don't know if you've had the story, the experience actually. And you can just let me know whom do you want me to host on the channel. I've been meeting several people. If you have any idea, whom do you want me to host next on the channel, you can make any suggestions. If you have any queries, if you have any concerns, anything, I'm here. It's not like I'm with those other videos where I just upload and then, poof, I disappear. I'm here. Let's interact. Richard, kindly repeat the story. Oh, really? Will you stay here to watch until I repeat the story again? Richard, where are you watching from? Then Ashif Abdin from Bangladesh. How is Bangladesh? Bangla is the language, right? I request you host fish farmers also. Richard, you want me to repeat the story? Want it to take long? It's going to take more time than it should. I was just here for a few minutes. I request you host fish farmers. I have ever hosted fish farmers in the past. I have like one video about fish farming. Are you sure we have exhausted poultry farming? I feel like there is still a lot people need to understand about poultry farming. But once I feel that everything is being exhausted, I promise this channel is about farming. It's a farming, but I'm dealing with, one sector at a go. Once I feel I have exhausted everything, trust me, I'll move on to another venture. But sometimes I mix. If I visit someone and this person is doing everything, let's say if this person is doing poultry, there are people who are doing integrated farming. Someone is doing poultry, fish, and then cow, goats, and then farming. If they're doing all that, of course, I make sure I bring the stories. I think I've done this. If I meet someone who is doing a lot of things around farming, I take their stories as well. So if I land on someone who is doing poultry and fish farming, trust me, I'll get the story as well. But there is a very wonderful story about fish farming on the channel. You can go and check it out because this gentleman is doing both broiler farming and fish farming. And there's a way he's integrating. We're integrating them because it's like an ecosystem. Whatever is fed there can be fed there. And he's doing it amazingly. All right, double tap on the screen. Double tap on the screen to like the video. And yeah, you can support the channel as well. You can support the channel if you enjoy my content. It doesn't hurt if you give me a bottle of water. You buy me a bottle of water. It doesn't hurt, right? All right, I welcome you to today's live. I just shared the story. You guys don't have questions? You don't have any recommendations? Nothing? I was just talking about the scamming experience that one of my people encountered here in Uganda. But these people, they were lucky. They actually escaped because when they came, after sharing their story, I was like, huh, is this really happening in broad daylight? But thing with these scammers is that everything is so perfect until you pay attention to the numbers. I told you poultry farming numbers never lie. Everything seems so perfect until you pay closer look at the numbers. There, you realize the inconsistencies. And then once you start asking questions and someone is defensive and they are not giving you proper explanations, that's when you realize that it's time to walk away from such scammers. All right? So you people seem not to have anything to say. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Wa alaikum salam. Bangladesh, how is the situation there? Do you do poultry farming in Bangladesh? I'm sorry to ask, but I've never done any research about poultry farming in Bangladesh. Have you ever? Are you guys carrying out poultry farming there? How about in Zambia? What's happening there, Richard? What's happening in Zambia when it comes to poultry farming? Okay, it's 9. I was supposed to be here for just a few minutes, just 30 minutes. I just wanted to share this experience because we are nearing the end of year and people are now looking for ventures to invest in the next year. So as you make your decisions and as you look for partners, be careful. Just be careful. Ask questions. Do this, but also make sure you're not wasting their time in the first place. Ask questions and everything, and then you can decide on whether to partner with that person or not. Okay, we are nearing the new year. People have new year plans, new year businesses, and if poultry farming is one of those and you want to partner with people from Uganda, I just want you to be very, very careful. All right, my number has been shared there for inquiries. I hope you've seen it on the screen out there. Otherwise, Gochik, Richard, Ashif, and Rachel, you my top fans tonight. Thank you so much for being my top fans, and I really appreciate. With that, if you're in Africa, good night. If you're in other countries, I'm not sure about the time zones, but I wish you all the best as you all go about your activities. All right. Until next time, I'll see you in the next live interactions. Bye-bye.